Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Friday night. Let's just tell some stories. Let's try to tie in a message with it. Message of loyalty. Loyalty amongst men. It's good to have loyal people at your side. That's an obvious statement. Let's talk about bros before hoes. You'll find out who's loyal when pussy's around. When there's a chick involved, you'll find out who your real homeboys are, who the backstabbers are. You'll find out. It's powerful. Pussy is powerful. But let's talk about bros before hoes. Tell a little story about it. Let's go back to the 80s, mid-1980s. I was in high school. Breakdancing was all the rage. Run DMC, you know the story. That just sets the scene. Early on in high school, like 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I don't know, 7th and 8th, I guess that's junior high. But junior high and the first year or two of high school, school dances are fun. And they have school dances, at least for me, after I got a little older, by the time I got into 10th grade, I could care less about school dances. I was already a criminal at that point. I was involved in the gang scene. We were robbing people for crack and shooting at people. We were getting involved in so much trouble. Me and my brother were developing these mega reputations in the streets at that point. I could care less about school functions. My brother stopped going to school altogether. I still showed up every once in a while. But like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, those years, school dances were fun. And I was a break dancer early in those days, so I liked the school dances because it was my time to shine. I could show off. Well, I had just hooked up with this girl from my school. She was very pretty, this girl Jessica. Jessica was beautiful, but the funny thing about Jessica was that she didn't know how to wear makeup. And she would always wear way too much makeup. And she looked like someone like if you were to pack a bunch of makeup into a shotgun and then hold it against her face and just go BAM! And shoot her in the face with a bunch of makeup, that's what she would go to school looking like. Like the fucking Joker. The teachers, adults, my mother. I introduced her to my mother one time because it's my new girlfriend. And my mother was just like, I gotta teach her. You tell her to come by. I'm gonna teach her how to do some fucking makeup. But she was sexy. That's why I was going out with her. And it was a school dance. So of course at the school dance, you gotta have a slow dance. You gotta have that intimate moment. And the school dance was really gonna make it official. We weren't like officially boyfriend and girlfriend until the school dance. And I forget how I asked her, but there was a typical way when you're in 8th grade or 9th grade, you ask him to go with you or there's some shit. And she was like, yes, I will. And we agreed that we were going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever that means. And then she goes over to her little friends, I guess, to spread the news. And I'm covered in lipstick, and she like latched onto my face. I had a lipstick ring all around my whole face, basically. And I go over to my buddies and try to be cool and tell them how it's now official. And one of my buddies, he kind of burst my bubble. He was just like, well, you guys are officially dating now? And he was like, well, that's weird. And I was like, why is that weird? And he was like, well, because her boyfriend is supposed to be here tonight. She has a boyfriend. You didn't know she has a boyfriend? And I was like, well, no. This never came up over the last month. I've been hanging out with her every day. She's been over my house. So I was like, well, who's her boyfriend? And it turns out, boyfriend was this guy named Joel. Joel went to a different school. He was my age, same grade. And Joel was a breakdancer. So I knew who Joel was, but he wasn't like a good friend, but I knew him because everybody knew everybody in the little breakdance scene as far as the crews were concerned. If you just were breakdancing in your basement, well, of course no one knows you, but if you were in a crew and you battled against other crews, I knew who you were. And the crews were connected with the gangs, and it was a whole thing, and we knew each other because we all showed up at the same functions. We all battled each other all the time. We knew each other. And Joel, his nickname in the streets was Mr. Flip or Dr. Flip. I think it was Dr. Flip, but it could have been Mr. Flip. Anyways, Joel could flip his fucking ass off. He could break dance too, but the flipping was his thing. And he would just like an acrobat, boing, 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 and he could do handsprings and flips, and it was amazing. And the crowd would go berserk. When he would start flipping around, the crowd would go nuts. That would always win the crowd over. And the crew that he was in would bring Joel out at the end as like kind of a final way to put the nail in the coffin at the battle. And it would always work. And he was a nice guy. He was friends with a buddy of mine named Paul, Skinhead Paul. I have a video about Paul. So Joel and Paul show up to the fucking school dance. I say what's up to Paul. Paul was crazy. This is before he was a skinhead. He still had his hair back in those days. He had terrible curly hair. Anybody who knows Skinhead Paul, you remember what he looked like before he shaved it all off. Straight up nerd, goofball. But Paul was always crazy. I knew Paul since he was a fucking little boy. He is crazy back then. He's dead now, rest in peace. But I confronted Joel right away, and I was just like, are you fucking with my girlfriend? And he was just like, well, who's your girlfriend? Maybe I am. And I had known Joel. I had been over Joel's house. Joel was a cool guy, but we weren't real buddies or anything. At least not at that point. So I point out Jessica across the way, and she's talking with her girlfriends, looking over. She was looking over rather nervously. And I could understand why. And he said, well, that's my girlfriend. I've been dating her for the last month. And I was like, well, I've been dating her for the last month. And Joel was like, well, this is fucked up, isn't it? We have ourselves a little dilemma, don't we? And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, maybe we should go and see who she wants to fuck with. And he was like, good idea. Let's go make her choose. And as soon as we got over there to make her choose, I realized this is probably not a good idea. Why did I bring this up? And Joel says, him or me? He turns into Ike Turner right there. And he's just like, bitch, choose, bitch. Him or me? She's shocked. She doesn't know what to say. Jessica is put on the spot. She is busted. You couldn't tell if she's blushing because she had too much fucking makeup on her face. I swore she was going to choose me. I really did think she was going to choose me. I honestly thought, like an idiot, that she was going to choose me, and she chose Joel. And I'm sure that she thought that when she chose Joel, she was going to run off skipping hand in hand with Joel, and that was going to be that, and I was going to be left there, and I kind of thought that was going to happen too. Joel flipped the script. He realized that this situation was fucked up, and that she fucked up, and that it's bros before hoes, and that's what he said. He said, bros before hoes, bitch. Right to her face. He dumped her right there. I don't want to fuck with you at all. Fuck you. Me and Joel walked away friends. And he told me as we were walking away, and he was just like, man, I know you're no punk, and I'm no punk either. And we're both connected in the breakdance scene with the crews. Our two crews are friendly. But this is the type of thing that fucks everything up. A bitch will fuck up everything, and this could turn into real trouble. And he's like, it's just not worth it, man. He's like, I want you as a friend. I don't need that piece of ass. I still was like, man, I wish she would have chose me. But Joel, I shook his hand. I was like, you're a stand-up guy. Well, long story short, that dance ended up, there was a fight later at that night. I pulled a switchblade on the PE teacher. Stand back! And then me and Joel and Paul, Skinhead Paul, ended up getting kicked off the school because the police showed up. We was kicked out of the property, and we went and smoked a bunch of PCP. The good old days.